Emergency order. Jesus. Exterminate all Metroid organisms on planet Zebus. And defeat the mechanical life form Mother Brain. Jesus Christ, that's a loud, like, intro to it. But, hello ladies and germs, gentlemen and bacteria, welcome to Metroid Zero Mission. For those of you curious as to what this is a remake of the original Metroid on the NES, but for the Game Boy Advance. It's a pretty good remake, honestly. At least in my opinion, because I played it once before and one more time, like, you know, more recently. Like, I had a Game Boy and I did play this, but I didn't have it, I didn't own it. And as you can see, I already played this game on a different file, which was on easy. So I decided to play through this game again, but this time on normal difficulty. So keep that in mind. I know most of what might happen throughout this game and some of its secrets. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult in that regard. So keep that in mind. Planet Zebus. I called this home once, in peaceful times, long before evil haunted the caverns below. Now I shall finally tell the tale of my first battle here. My so-called Zero Mission. Samus Aran, 2017. I don't know when this was made, but this is supposed to be the remake of the very first Metroid game ever, which was on the NES, but ported onto made for the Game Boy Advance, which is actually pretty decent. It's pretty fun, honestly. And in terms of gameplay, it's pretty simple to do and pretty easy to get into. Your first power-up that you get is the Morph Ball, which is pretty substandard. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I played this once on a friend, you know, borrowed the cartridge and played it on my own Game Boy Advance, but I had to give it back to my friend, so I never completed it. But I eventually did, decide to play this game again, fully, mainly on easy just to see what I get myself into. And so I thought, why not play it for the channel, because it's not really too long, but it is a game in general that I can play for my channel. And what I'm going to be doing, technically speaking, is going through most of it as best as I can. But this isn't going to be a full speed run of the game. It's going to be a little bit less than that. So yeah, keep that in mind as I play through this game. I won't speed run it, nor will I finish it. Like I won't go for 100% completion. I'll just go through story completion as best as I can and as much as I can, because I'm betting I'm gonna die a lot, which is gonna be pretty easy to do. As you can see, the health bar is up in the top left, indicated right over there, and it's really showing of how badly I'm doing, technically. But yeah, the Morph Ball, real quick, allows you to fit into smaller areas and also fit into the palm of these Chozo statue things. I think that's what they're called. But most of them just guide you into multiple directions or give you special items in certain places. They also fill you up as soon as you become a Morph Ball and fill up your weapons too, when you get the weapons later on. There's a couple of different rooms throughout this entire game that allow you to do different stuff, such as save rooms and secret rooms, and also map rooms, which show you the entire map. That's basically this. That's basically the substandard of Metroid rooms. The Metroid gameplay is simple. You just jump and sort of shoot, to some degree. It's more positioning and being more careful with what you do, and it's a platform sort of shooter-esque thing. And you know what? It's pretty good. Pretty good game. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to just, you know, play it for the channel. Because, well, Samus, like, I kind of wanted to play this during Samus's return. Sort of came out, but it was kind of, I decided to delay that because, well, I didn't really have anything really for it, and it really wasn't worth playing like the original Metroid. And this one came out, like, I decided to play it by myself at first, like I said before, but that took up a lot of time because I forgot, oh hey, I should be recording this for my channel, but I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to actually record myself instead of just playing the game myself. So yeah, you know, I kind of forgot to record myself, so I was like, just keep it in. Like, I'll record myself playing it later. I'll get to it eventually, which I did do. Not saying I didn't, it's just more of, I kind of forgot to. But whatever the case is, I decided to just finally play it for my channel, because, yeah, I want more stuff on my channel, at least like Metroid and stuff like that. So I thought this could help. What I just got is the long beam, which just upgrades your arm cannon beam pretty easily. Although it does allow you to aim diagonally. I'm not sure if I could do that before. I think I tried to, but I don't think I could. Anyway, the diagonal beam or the long beam just has your bullets travel farther. But if you can also charge it up, actually. I think you can charge it up. So if you hold down the B button, you can charge up your beam and use it to destroy more enemies or hit enemies better and stuff like that. At least that's what I think you can do. I'm not completely like 100% sure. All I do know is that most enemies will drop off health and item drops, so keep that in mind as you're fighting them. You know, you can farm not lives, just energy and bullets from most of these enemies. And by the way, be careful, because you don't have lives in this game like other games do have, like, you know, 1-ups or a lives counter. You only got your substantial amount of energy. If you run out of energy, you die and you have to go back to the last save point. Which is a little bit frustrating, but at the same time, you know, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's not great, but it's not too bad. This part of the level requires you to defeat 2 bosses in order to get through. You have to beat this weird 3-eyed creature, and then I think it's 3-eyed, at least I believe so. And also Ridley. And don't act surprised, everyone knows what Metroid sort of main enemy is nowadays, so... Or at least Samus Aran's main enemy is, which was, like I said before, Ridley. I'm pretty sure no one's too surprised by that fact. I'm sure some people are, but in all honesty, I'm pretty sure they aren't. But, anyway, what these Chozo statues do, which is a race of bird alien creatures that raised Samus since she was a little kid, what they do basically is purely just shoot. It's purely just tell you where to go, show you different places on the map where you can get specific upgrades, or they just, well, they're just there for no other reason than just being there. Well, there's some specific reason, but not too much. The way I'm sort of recording this and how exactly I'll be doing it is a little bit here and there. Basically, I'll just record as far as I can go before I have to, you know, actually stop and actually record more. It's more of what exactly I'll be doing more so than anything else. It's akin to trying to figure out like what the best option for doing anything really is for this type of game, because this game doesn't have a lot of story. It has some, but it really isn't like split up into sections where you can do a lot of stuff. But I know what I'm doing, so I'm able to go through it a little bit faster than usual. So at least faster than someone who plays it blind. So well, I'm pretty sure some other people might do that too. Anyway, so keep that in mind as I play through this game. It's not gonna be like the fastest Let's Play I've ever done. I'm pretty sure that's technically Kid Dracula, because I did technically sort of speedrun that game. Not too much, but by a little bit. So this game will be a little longer than that. At least I think it is. I don't know. There are certain parts which I will be cutting out, some parts that I won't be. And there's a good amount of it that I will be keeping in and trying to get through most of it. Although I won't say I'll remember everything I did, because I kind of forgot like certain things I'm supposed to be doing. But I know like the gist of what I'm at best, you know, supposed to be at least sort of doing. By the way, I think I realized, I think I was wrong before when I said I had the charge shot. I don't think I do have it. At least I don't think I have it. I don't know. It's either or. Like, I may have forgotten that I had it, or may not. And by the way, those little purple bugs, don't let a lot of them get onto you, because they will slowly drain your health if you get a lot of those on you. And the only way I found out how to really get rid of them is through the Morph Ball's Bomb, which is another power-up you'll be getting on later on. So keep that in mind. I'm trying to shake them off, and it's not working because, well, it just doesn't work. you can't really blame me for trying, at least. Not saying it's like a full 100%, like, it's not really, like, gonna work too much with you just jumping up like a maniac. But it might, honestly. By the way, I hate those things. Because they follow you everywhere and they're so annoying. Ugh. But yeah, you'll be seeing me fail a lot. At least in certain places of platforming. But here we go, here's the missile launcher. This is done by holding the right bumper and pressing B and firing rockets. These things are pretty decent in terms of combat abilities, and they destroy certain blocks, but they're not really good. Well, they're pretty good at doing some other stuff, but they're not really great for a lot of things, except for fighting, which I'm saying that they're pretty decent. The one thing you have to worry about is your amount of rockets. And this is where you happen to use the rocket. It's the first, well, technically the boss, by some degree of the word. Anyway, the real way to how to beat him, or at least fight this thing, is purely through sort of understand the pattern. You're supposed to just stay out of the way of wherever it's going to be, and just shooting. And also shooting off the parts of its body that come out. Now, I didn't know this. Oh, here's the charge beam. I knew I didn't have it. I was like thinking like, oh, like I was wondering whether or not I did have it. But there's the charge beam. You can hold down the B button to make your shots even better. Or stronger. I don't know. But the first time I did play this on easy, I did not beat that boss. And he just kind of went away. So I didn't know what exactly I was supposed to do, and I don't know whether or not I needed, I did meet with him later on, and I beat him there, so, you know, I want you to keep that in mind, because, you know, I did get the charge beam at some point. It's just, I didn't really kill the guy as soon as I could. I don't know. Either way, it's a little embarrassing, but, whatever. One thing I will say, about the charge beam, it's pretty powerful, but it doesn't kill off certain enemies here and there. It's really decent when you get the freeze ability attack with it. It's really good then. But for now, it's not. It's pretty good against killing most enemies, especially big ones. Oh yeah, that red latch, you can only ever open it with only rockets. So keep that in mind. You need a lot of rockets. And there's more of those missile tanks lying around in secret places, and maybe some places that you can find them easily. But those things are basically, what do you call it, missile tanks. Just increase the number of rockets you have by 5, I think. Either 5 or 10, because, no, I think it's 5. And there's a lot of those hidden rocket tanks around the place, so make sure to look around as best as you can, in order to find a good amount of them. Because at least then you're able to get a good majority of the tanks around the place. Most of them are pretty well hidden, some of them are pretty well found, some of them are a little bit harder to scope out, most of them are pretty easy to at least find. I will say, I'm sorry if I yawned, I was a bit tired. Anyway. Oh, here's another thing you can collect. Energy tanks. The more energy tanks you have, the more health you have. That little square represents another 90% or 99 points of health that I have as my, health bar to the left. That's what this is basically telling you. It's like, anytime you take damage, you take a certain number of health points away. The red square represents another 99 points that I can take before I can die. The one thing you need to know is that you can actually refill that health bar at the red square once it goes down at some point. Not, like, what do you call it? I don't know whether or not it's noticeable, but you can fill it back up. You just need to get a lot of health. Like a lot of health pickups and drops, so keep that in mind as you go through this entire level. And this is what the map does. It shows you parts of the stage you haven't been in, and certain places here and there, but it doesn't show you, like, the hidden areas of where other stuff are, or is. It's a little bit, like, clustered in that, well, not clustered, just a little bit more difficult to find more of the secrets, so you have to really look around at best while you're playing the game. If not, then you're kind of left in the dust to some degree. Yeah, at least I think so, at least. All I do know is that trying to go through most of the level, like, per se, trying to do it, like, normally, is a little bit, we call it a bit of a hassle, but to some degree, if you know what you're doing, you're a lot better at it, especially speedrunners for this game. There's a lot of people who can actually play this game very fastly and get to the very end, which is pretty amazing, honestly. Me, personally, I don't know, I like the Metroid series as a whole, but, I don't know, I don't really, like, care for the whole completion bonus stuff. And this is what I was talking about, the Metroid bomb, Morph Ball bomb. But really, my opinion on it, Metroid has, like, you know, it has a completionist bonus where if you play the game as fast as you can and get to the end, you'll see either a photo of Samus and bikinis and stuff like that. It's like a little bit of fan service that you have to work for. But I really don't care for it, and nor do I think of it too much. It's a kind of lackluster completion bonus, honestly. But whatever. And that's something you can do with the Morph Ball and bombs together. If you place a bomb directly on the spot you're in, you can jump up in the air, and if you place more and more down, you can do basically a bomb jump. I don't know how you can... I know there's somewhat of a timing to it, but in all honesty, I just spam the heck out of it so that I can jump up higher. It's a little easier to do that, honestly, than simply not waiting for the bomb to go off. This bomb can take down certain blocks in different areas, such as ones labeled as the, well, you know, just a gray box with a a gray box with a red circle on it. That's the main catch of what these things can destroy. And as you can see, a lot of those things, if they get onto you, will drain your health slowly. So it's beneficial for you to really get them off as soon as possible. They're not really great, but they're at least something to deal with. You know, a little bit easier to deal with than some other people give you, at least what you think. Maybe you do. Whatever you do, don't, like, worry too much about it. At least in terms of just not worrying about it. Most of the enemies here and there. I will say, though, that, you can use the bomb jump, as I call it, to reach a lot of different places and areas. That's actually pretty good, at least. I think, at least I feel like as if I do pretty good at doing some of them pretty well. Like, oh hey, I'm pointing in this direction, I'm jumping this way. Oh man, I'm doing so good of playing through the game normally. Well, not, you know what I mean. Playing through the game pretty well. And it works to some degree of that particular term, it works well. But keep that in mind as you play through the game. You're gonna have some issues here. Like, see, I knew there was something here because I was like, was there a missile launcher here, missile tank here and there? And I kind of forgot. But, depending on how well you really play this game is really depending on whether or not you're going to be doing really well or really terribly. It really all depends on your own opinion on this. Is like, I personally think I did well playing through throughout the game the first time in my own playthrough of it, at my own personal time. But at the same time, I can understand I'm not doing too well in it because it's like, you're not really that great at it. You're not really a Metroid master per se, nor are you the greatest Metroid player. But keep that in mind. And you know, it was kind of hard to beat the game, at least the first time. But I definitely did it at some point. Here we go. Yeah. Most of these things will tell me where to go in one particular way or another. So it's best to follow its instructions at best. Not saying that you can't find secrets before you get there, but you can at least try it. One thing I will say though is that I do look around at best to make sure I don't forget anything, because the game has a lot of like little things like the energy tanks and the missile launchers hiding away in a lot of places. So it's kind of hard not to just say like, oh hey, ooh, like I kind of missed a couple of dozens of these things, which isn't bad. It's just, oh man, there's like 100 missile tanks around this place, or at least enough to warrant them being a little bit too many misses. Well, if I'm counting the other upgraded missile I'm thinking of, I think it might be counting those, but at the same time, it's still a lot, honestly. Okay, for those of you curious, this is what I mean. There's a super bomb in this game, or a super missile that you can get later on. That's sort of based. That's a little bit stronger than than the missiles I have currently, which are very helpful and pretty powerful. But you got to be aware of how well you're going to be using them. So you know, there's that. Keep that in mind. He's like, I think I might be counting those, but most of the power-ups and collectibles will be counted for a subtotal at the very end of the game. But I won't be going for that, like I said before. So keep that in mind. But I do want to go through most of the secrets that I can find without, like, what do you call it, remembering most of it, or just goofing around, because Metroid technically is a sort of like a trial and error sort of thing. Not completely, but somewhat. And it really challenges you to try and find most of its secrets by yourself, by your own time, and try to figure out how to do some of this stuff. I figured out sort of how to do most of this stuff. And you know what? It's pretty decently fun. And you know what? Some of this other stuff I could use more like actual better mobility on, but whatever. Ooh. And I tried to get to this particular spot because I've done this before. And I can't get into that little crevice to get the what do you call it, the missile launcher. No, the missile tank. Sorry, keep on calling them something else. But I can get into the missile tank somehow. I've done this before, once or twice at least. I think I have. Well, I know I have at least. It's just a little bit like harder to, there we go, actually get them, because they're a little bit more difficult to get through, but they're not too difficult, not too bad. They're fine. The heart tanks and the energy tanks and the sub-tanks, more like the tanks, the missile tanks, missile and energy tanks are scattered a lot of places. In order to really get to them, you're really gonna have to at least fight through a lot in order to get a good majority of the upgrades. But I think I've rambled on enough. I'm kind of done with this episode because, like, this really wasn't recorded too well or too well explained. But I hope you enjoyed this episode of, Metroid Zero Mission, the remake for the original Metroid. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe for more, tell more people about me, because I'm still playing a lot of other games going on. So see y'all next time in the next video. Until then, sayonara, my bots. Take care.